Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. We'll be back to the normal streaming at night and normal video making. Probably about Monday, maybe we'll be back to the streams on Sunday night, we'll see. Somebody went and banned my Xbox account. It's fine, we let it roll off, I can still make videos. So, doesn't matter none. Anyways, so today's video is actually going to be a pretty interesting one. It's on the theoretical topic of a time machine. Now, there's a couple things I'd like to talk about with the time machine. So, A, is it possible? Well, that one's more easy to... That's going to be more easier than the rest of them. Because a very genius man, Albert Einstein, to which a lot of people should know. I mean, he's pretty much a household name. I mean, you probably, if you're ever being too smart, have been told, quit being such an Einstein. But the point is, Albert Einstein theorized that time travel actually is completely possible. The problem is that getting to that highway. In a sense, he said that one would have to actually build a bridge to get on that highway, to then travel through time, to then decide to come off of it. But just the same as one would have to build a bridge to get there, one would have to build a bridge back. So that would probably be more in the technicality of how the time machine works and all that, and stuff like that. But something else that I'd like to talk about that's probably going to go into more like detail and depth would be how a time machine works. For example, I don't really think that you'd just be able to... You must have watched a time-traveling movie at some point in your life, whether it be Back to the Future or one of those other many movies. Usually they are able to control time to the whimsicalness of their ability, which is kind of a Hollywood thing and just a movie thing in general. The idea that the movie has to end up a certain way and mechanics work out for the character just for the story to work out a certain way. But here's where I think this might get a little more interesting. I don't think you would be able to, like, say you wanted to go back and relive a birthday, specifically just that one birthday, one part of it. I don't think you'd be able to do that. I genuinely don't think you could go back and relive just one specific moment and then come back. Nor do I think you could go back to that one moment, change it, and then just live on great from there. Because from the moment you change that first thing, it's butterfly effect. Everything's different, so there's no way that you can track what could happen. You're going to know some similarities, but it's very possible that, like, a girl that you asked out could say no. That could be the butterfly effect. Something you've done could affect where, like, it's like you kick a rock, that rock ends up being moved and, like, tipping over a bike down the road. Somebody gets hurt. That person's in the hospital, and you could have met your mother who was in the hospital at the time. Like, that's how quickly you can fuck your life up with a butterfly effect. But here's on the other side of that. As you said, it's a bridge. Anybody who's ever been traveling somewhere, say you're living alongside a river, right? And you live up the river, and you want to go get McDonald's, which is on the other side of the river, but the bridge is down the river. Now, you can't just go over the bridge and be at McDonald's. You would have to travel to a certain point, go across that bridge, travel to get to the McDonald's. Well, I think time would be the same way. You would not be able to specifically go to that birthday or whatever you want to relive, but at the same time, you would be able to, like, necessarily go back to a certain time, and you would have to relive everything up to that point. Now, this is going to bring me into something else. Would time travel actually be worth it? Because, as I said, you don't just experience the good times. You don't just get to go back, experience good times, put everything back in order, and fix everything, and just do everything right the second time around. No. Because of the butterfly and everything else, you're kind of screwed, if you want me to be honest. You have to relive every single bad moment along with the good. And I know that's how life works. Good comes with the bad. But, like, if you wanted to go back to your 12th birthday, and you were getting bullied really bad in school at your 12th birthday, and you had to go back to that time for, like, a week, just saying, you had to suffer that bullying for 12, or, like, for, like, a week, 7 days. If you wanted to go back to when you got your favorite car, your first car, back when you were 16, and say you were just having a real hard trouble with life at that time, you still are going to have to experience that at the time. Say you wanted to go back to relive your marriage, and maybe a couple days earlier you guys were having some fights or something like that. You also have to relive the bad with the good, which then makes me wonder, is time travel really worth it? Because it's not like you get to go back and relive specifically the good moment and have all the good times from it. No, you actually have to experience all the time, not just a little bit. And that's under the theoretical guise that somebody can actually build one. I think it is completely possible, because Albert Einstein was no quack, he was no kook, he was a very genius man. Very, very intelligent. In fact, he did not like necessarily build the nuclear bomb or the atom bomb or the hydro. He was involved with either the nuclear. I believe it was the nuclear bomb because it had something to do with Oppenheimer. He wasn't the one who built it. Oppenheimer built it, but he was the one who did give some of his own expertise of the mind towards the project. So, in a way, he was a genius who was able to be one of the minds behind such a project as that. So he's not a quack or a kook. He knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes down to science. That was literally his whole life. So I think it is fully possible for time travel. I do think maybe not anytime soon. Probably hundreds of years down the road. I think there will be a time machine and that'll become an ability. But when that comes around, that's going to be a brand new danger, just the same as war or anything else would be a danger. Because, A, you would have to have somebody that would be trustworthy. For example, you ever hear the old-fashioned saying, oh, if you could go back in time and be in front of baby Hitler, would you kill him? Okay, let me just put this in perspective for you. You don't have to kill that child. You could take that child and give it to another family, and there's absolutely zero chance that he's gonna end up in that role again because of butterfly effect. So, no, you don't have to kill anybody. But see, that's the thing. You would have to have somebody you could trust to actually do, like, put their biases aside, put their beliefs aside, and actually do what's right for everybody in the world in general, moving things forward. And two, you'd probably want somebody more like a Star Trek ordeal, where they don't have any contact with anybody who doesn't have the same technology as them. So if you're going back in time to a time era where they don't have a time machine, you don't contact with those people. You stay as far away. You can walk down the street and close, but you do your best not to impede anybody, or butterfly effect. Same as at that point, why would you want to go back in time if you can't change anything? Pretty much are limited and restricted where you can move because you have to make sure you're knowing where other people are going to move, so that way you can walk in a way that doesn't restrict or move anything in your pathway to cause the butterfly effect. It just seems like a very overly complicated and very difficult thing that could be used for nefarious purposes instead of good purposes. And I don't really see the point of good purposes because the more I look at it, like, I'm just being honest with you guys, the more I look at it, the more I see, like, there's not anybody who would want to do good things would not actually go and use this thing, because they would be well aware of the ramifications that could happen to anybody else around them. To specifically go back and want to relive your good moments and be careful not to mess up your life, possibly mess somebody else's life up that you're not thinking about, or possibly somebody who you didn't even know you interacted with or was around that possibly interacted or seen you or whatever. That's what I mean. Like, anybody who was actually good in doing things for the purpose of bettering the humanity would think that a time machine would be a bad thing. Which then is also the scary part of it. If time machines ever come around, I don't think it's going to be some guy who invents it out of the goodness of his heart. Or if it is, it's not going to be him using it. It'll be government agencies that'll take it, or somebody else far more nefarious that'll take it, and it'll be used for far more nefarious means. Just the same as archaeology for a long time, when people didn't have an understanding of it, yet other people did, that it was used for, like, nefarious reasons, like racism and stuff like that. This would be a lot of the same reason. People would use that time machine to further their own goals, whether it be by one government having it and controlling their governmental views and, moving their government forward using that knowledge in the time machine, or it be somebody just fucking trying to move on their criminal organization or whatever. There isn't a good reason why you would need a time machine. Again, that's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong on this. You guys can have some other conversation in the comments about this, if that's because again, I'm not sitting here like I'm the King Koopa and I know what I'm talking about. Like, to be fair, as much as this is a theoretical thing to me, it's a theoretical thing to you, and it's a theoretical thing to scientists. No one knows how to build a time machine. All we know is that the greatest minds who have looked at the whole idea says it is possible, and one day it probably will come to be a thing. So all I'm trying to do is spark conversation and some understanding and the realization that that is not going to be something as like fun as a Back to the Future movie where it's an adventure. It's something that can be used as a weapon far more dangerous than any nuclear bomb or anything like that. You could go back and have several attempts at assassinations or whatever. Like a time machine would be far more dangerous than any weapon that humans have created to date. I hope that a time machine never gets created, but I know that it's fully possible to make one, and I know, because of how governments are, there will be a time where they make one, and they will try to produce to make one if they haven't already tried to make one yet. You can tell one hasn't been made because the world is somewhat free at the moment. Although there are some pretty wild shit going on within media and stuff like that lately and on the news that if you watch it, it's just, you know, I'm not a big believer in the simulation theory, but like, again, it just feels like you're living in a simulation and nothing's real when you're watching the news or seeing some of the stories sometimes, or like them just shoving down the Epstein files. Like, that's nothing, like, that's not a big deal and nobody needs to see that. Like, there's a lot of things going on, so who's to say there might not be one already, but I'm just saying, in the theoretical sense that one hasn't been built, this is just my whole idea and the whole thoughts on it. I don't think it'd be a good thing. I don't think it would further humanity in any good way. I don't think it would be beneficial to anybody at all. Because here's the other side of this real quick. Say you did go back and kill Hitler, right? Just stick with me here with this one. Yeah, you stopped him, but somebody far worse could appear. I watched this video one time, and it was this little short skit of this guy, and it's like, oh, the idea was that he went back in time and killed Hitler, and that he's coming back to the future. And he goes up to this random guy when he gets to the future again, he's like, and he grabs him by the shoulder, he's like, okay, have you heard of Hitler? And the guy's like, who's that? And he thinks that his job's done. By the end of the skit, after the guy's like, who's Hitler? And he explains it to him, he's like, oh, I just went back in time and saved us all and killed this guy. The other guy gets mad because they had somebody far worse than the dude that would have been there already. Some things, I believe, are a constant in time. If you did have the ability to change it, there isn't a way of changing it. You know how in the Marvel Universe, within the timeline and the TVR, how there are some events that are just, they are going to happen. Every universe, no matter if they are different, that one event is going to happen because it is just predetermined in time. That may be the thing. There are possibility of it. It's possible that some events are just set in stone. There's no changing it. There's no going back in time and taking it away. Because if you do, just like trying to contain an explosion, you could make it far worse. Yes, in an explosion attempt, you do want to try to contain it. But those people containing it are well aware by containing it or trying to do something to stop it or dampen it, you can cause that to get bigger. So that's why most times they try to, if they can, and there's nobody around, they try to throw their hands up and not have anything to do with it. Trying to switch something can ultimately cause worse things to happen. So I know this one was definitely a longer video than what my normal videos are, and so enjoy. Maybe me having my Xbox account taken away was more of a blessing than anything. Hope you guys liked the video and subscribe. I hope you guys liked the topic. I really didn't like sitting here, and I really love sitting here and just kind of rambling on about this because time travel is a very interesting concept. There's so many different things you can talk about with it. The actual working of the machine, the actual what you can do with it. Anyways, so that was my video. Hope you guys liked, subscribe, and enjoy. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another one of these. And then we'll be back to normal Xbox content unless you guys like this. Let me know.
Alright, okay. That was